As the Russian-Ukraine war continues to disrupt travel patterns within Europe and Asian Pacific, the COVID-19 pandemic has been projected to cause African airlines to lose about $700 million in 2022, as their demand is expected to reach 72% of pre-COVID levels. According to the latest economic outlook report from the International Air Transport Association for the year 2022, lower vaccination rates in Africa is expected to dampen the region air travel recovery. The report also shows that North America is expected to continue to be the strongest performing region and the only region to return to profitability in 2022, supported by a large U.S. domestic market and the reopening of international markets. I have joining me live in our studio to access the outlook of the aviation sector, of course, amid the high cost of aviation fuel. He's an aviation analyst, Mr. Wole Shadari. Thank you so much for your time. It's good to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Well, exactly when I read this report, I put a call through to you because I wanted to ask you then, was it expected that with the hike that we've seen and the price of aviation fuel, that it will get to affecting flights and all of this rescheduling, people not being able to meet up appointments? That is why we fly. So what's happening? And we have Mr. Wole Shadari here to continue the discussion. You know, the issues with the aviation sector is what we're talking about. And you were talking about the meeting with IATA and the submission there.
So like I said aviation fuel is going to cause a lot of problem. It has, in fact, it has started causing a lot of problem. The IATA AGM that I was privileged to be part of some few weeks ago, I think about 3 weeks ago, this issue came up. And airlines are finding it extremely difficult to even break even. So what most of them are planning to do now is to introduce what we call surcharges. Etihad, one of the biggest airlines in United Arab Emirates, has introduced a surcharge of $49 per passengers. What that means is that if you're going to fly, you have to pay more. It's not going to be calculated as your fare. It's going to be calculated as if you're paying for your fuel, apart from the other charges they've introduced. And if care is not taken, Nigeria Airlines too may take a cue from that. If you also remember, when we spoke last month, I told you that we have not heard the last from this. I do not know how the airlines are going to do. Already, like I said, aviation fuel used to take about 30-35% of airlines' revenue, but now it is taking about almost 45 and 50% of the entire revenue. What it shows you that there's no way an airline is going to be profitable except some mega airlines like British Airways, Lufthansa. They also have their own issues. And if you bring it down to Nigerian sector, the airlines are really, really struggling. Not because of their own problem, not because of government problem, but because of what we're having in the global aviation, on the global economy. What is happening between Russia and Ukraine, that has really affected not only the price of crude oil, it has also affected agricultural produce too. So in wheat, I think Ukraine or Russia is, I think, one of the biggest producers of wheat, which has also exporter of wheat, which has also affected the price of staples like bread and other things. So we're having the airlines are really having a lot of challenges now. Even if care is not taken, 2 or 3 airlines will pack up before. Yes, the signs are there. One airline is already owing salaries. One airline is already having issues with its workforce. Some pilots have even resigned from the employment of that company. And the signs are there. The airlines are not healthy. But one thing is certain is that the NCA, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, will never allow an alien airline to continue to fly. They will rather grant the airline than allow it to fly. So we're having a lot of challenges, even in Europe, in North America. We're beginning to see that. You saw the report. I saw the report you just read now. African airlines are going to lose $700 million. That's enormous, and including Nigeria too. The unfortunate thing is that Nigerian airlines don't even declare their losses or their gain. They do not even have allow people to see their books, because most of these airlines are privately run. They are not run as a serious companies. So we're beginning to see those difficulties, and there's little or nothing the government can do. The highest the government can do is to give them another bailout, but bailout has never helped anybody. It has even killed innovation, according to what the Director General of IATA has said, that, yeah, bailouts are very good, but it does not even allow the airlines to be creative. It doesn't allow any company to begin to have that foresight of what to do to remain afloat on their own. So this issue will come in, but I do not know how long we're going to, this problem will last for. But like I said, we've not had the last. Aviation fuel is going to still continue to increase almost on a daily basis. And if it does, the airlines will be forced to increase fares. But for how long are they going to increase fare? The economy does not support further increment of airfare. If not, like I always tell people, they have competitors. The bus operators at Oyingbo, the bus operators at Maza, the bus operators at Festa are really giving them a run for their money. Yes, we can argue that the insecurity in the country has made more people to take to air travel, but if you do not have what it takes to fly, so you have alternative, you go by road, not minding the insecurity on the roads.
And I also think we had issues even about repatriating funds at the time for the airlines. So I think about 600 million at the moment, as at the end of
$450 million.
There's added, I think, part that was paid, 200 and something was paid by central bank.
Yes.
But the last report I checked,
as at 2 weeks ago, as at 3 weeks ago, it was.
That is also a problem.
Yes, a very big problem, and that is why airfares have gone up on international routes. Somebody was telling me yesterday that he bought a business class ticket for 4 million, 5 million naira, economic ticket for 1.5 million. But we shouldn't forget that this is the high season, coupled with a lot of issues too. During high season, airlines the demand outstrip supply. So a lot of people are ready to even pay more for limited seats. So in the past, what people would do is to go to Ghana because it's relatively cheaper to get. But you also look at the cost of flying from Lagos to Abuja, flying from Lagos to Accra, which will cost you to and from almost more than 300,000 naira, and your hotel too, because if you land in Accra and your connecting flight is not the same day, is not linked very well, you have to lodge in the hotel. At the end of the day, you are not saving money. You are even spending more, coupled with a lot of stress that you go through. So it doesn't even make any sense to say, okay, you want to go and buy your ticket in Accra. So it has gone up. What the airlines have done, because of their stock fund in Nigeria, is to eliminate the lower inventory. Okay, you have an airline, you have an aircraft, you have over 200 seats in economy, and the ticket ranges from, maybe the lowest is 400 or 350,000 naira. And after selling that category of the same economic fare, you move to the next level of economy, maybe 500,000. Then you move, when you finish selling that category, you also move to the third category of 600, 700. But the lowest fare you can get now, because they have eliminated the lower inventory, is from 600, 700,000 naira. And when they finish selling that, it goes as high as maybe 1.5, 2 million. So that has also led to the increase in airfare. So it has also, why the airlines have done that by removing the lower inventory, is that they cannot allow their fund to remain in Nigeria again, because if an airline has, most of the airlines have $450 million trapped in a country, that is a huge embarrassment to Nigeria. So what they are doing now, they are not waiting for the CBN to give them dollar at 400 or 420 now. What they do now is to ensure that they get enough money to go to the parallel market to buy their dollar, which we give you, which is around 600 or 615 or 620. So they buy their dollars from the parallel market instead of waiting for CBN to give them, and the money keeps on piling up. And that is why the fares have gone up, because they've eliminated the lower inventory and they've gone to the higher inventory of from 600. You cannot get like 400,000 naira fare from maybe Lagos to London anymore. Is the higher inventory. And the Director General of IATA said that what Nigeria has done, including many countries where airlines have their funds stock, is that airfares will be high. Airfares will
exactly.
go up.
Let's look at that impact now.
Yes.
Our pays, inflation is on the high side.
Absolutely.
And purchasing power continues to drop by the day. And now we are saying that it's going to be under high inventory. We are excluding the low inventory. What effect do you think this will have on the entire space moving on? And let me support that, or let me add to that by saying that any update with the national carrier issue?
I think they are going to pull it through. I'll start with national. Actually, very, very interested in national carrier. But some will also tell you that it is not desirable. We do not need a national carrier. But I also argue that we need a national carrier. Whichever way you look at it, I am a firm supporter and believer in national carrier, because one is going to provide jobs, is going to also provide other incentive, catalytic effect on the aviation value chain. So that is the reason I support it. But some people will also argue that we mismanage Nigeria Airways, we mismanage Virgin Nigeria, and how are we sure that this one is not going to be? I always tell people that these are assumptions. Let us have it before we begin to say whether it will be mismanaged or it will not be mismanaged. So that aside, your other question is
on the impact on travelers.
Okay, yes, it's going to have a lot of impact on travelers, because if I have a family of 3, 4, and we usually travel to maybe London, maybe twice or thrice in a year for vacation, it's not going to be possible.
Of course.
Maybe we'll just reduce it to even one. Understand? So when you make that reduction, it's going to affect a lot of things. It shows that you're not spending. The money is not going around, it's not going to where it should go, because people cannot really afford it any longer. And when it's also very expensive, people will begin to look for alternative. We begin to say, okay, we have Obudu Cattle Ranch. Is it not to go and see what is happening in America in tourism? Maybe it will also help us to develop our local tourism and help us to... Obudu is a very nice place. I've been there once. Very lovely. Has climate like what you have in the UK, and we have other Osun Osogbo is there. Maybe it will afford us opportunity to look inward and begin to say, okay, let's develop our own tourism. And but you know, a lot of government officials don't really want to go for seminars in those places. They will tell you that, they want it in Chicago because of the ESTA code and because of PTA and all the rest. And that has really put a lot of pressure on the dollar. So because if you want to travel now, to even get PTA or BTA is so difficult now. There's no even a guarantee that you will even get it. So we need to look inward and begin to spend less and, put much more pressure on the dollars. And that is why we are having exchange rates. I just saw it on your thing now, going to 620 for $1.
Almost finally, what's it about the cargo airports? I see states going into that. Even my state.
Honestly, I'm actually surprised that we are talking of cargo. Maybe we are building cargo airports for the future, because if you look at the quantum of cargo that is coming into Nigeria, we have more cargo coming into Nigeria than we're taking out. When airlines bring cargo to Nigeria, there's nothing they are taking back. And that is why your shipment to Nigeria is more expensive, because there's nothing they are taking back. They are practically flying empty back to their bases. So I see these airports as a conduit by some of the governors, because that is where they can easily spend public fund, and people will see it. But at the same time, a lot of water has passed under the bridge, a lot of underhand dealings. I'm not accusing anybody. But again, you look at it, that are these airports desirable? We have airports in, I saw the other time, the Ogun State government is building a cargo airport, and Lagos is here. Lagos is very close to the market, and I wonder, Ekiti government too is building another one, they call it Ekiti Cargo Airport, or whatever they call it. And I'm beginning to ask myself that, do we really need this when we should even be talking about health, about education? Do we really need an airport in Ekiti? Even the one we have in Ondo, how many airlines do go to Ondo? I agree totally that most of this infrastructure bring development, but we haven't seen that development, because if you look at the Jigawa airport, I was there when they were building that Jigawa airport, and we said at that particular time that this is like, waste of money, because up to today, I don't think we have more than 5 airlines, not airlines, they are chartered airlines, go to that place. You just build infrastructure that we're not doing anything, and after a time they start decaying. You're also putting enormous pressure on the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, because the state government will build these facilities, and because of their inability to run this facility, they hand them over to FAN. And FAN has a lot of things on his plate. You're giving FAN a lot of problems, because how many airports are really viable in Nigeria? We have the Lagos Airport, Abuja Airport, Port Harcourt Airport, and maybe the Owerri Airport. Okay. These are the 4 viable Kano airports, that are really giving FAN the money. So you're spending all the money you're making from this airport to so many places. And FAN is so big that at times you begin to wonder whether they really need the personnel they are really working with. So we can see how we fritter public fund. We can see how we waste them, that this fund that should have been used to provide education, to provide health facilities, hospitals, being wasted in, to build airport. Yes, some airports are very viable. The Anambra Airport is very, very viable. The Asaba Airport is very, very viable. Some airports are viable, but not all airports in Nigeria are viable. Yes, these airports can be made viable. You can concession them. You look at what you can do to attract activities to this airport. If the fares are very cheap, but not cheap, if the fares are, competitive and not too high, people can say, okay, I want to fly to one area in maybe Jigawa or like some of the airports that are lying fallow now. So we need to make those airports to be attractive for people to say, you can bring activities into the airport, you can build hotels and around the airport where people can go. Even if they are not, flying, they can go there. It brings activities to this airport, and the airport will generate money. But what we do is like we're in competition. Who is going to build airports? The governors are just, falling over themselves to build airports. And once they do that, we need to begin to look at it underneath. What is the driving force? What is making them to want to build airports that they know are not viable, or they are not going to be viable in the nearest future? If you are spending 30, 40 billion naira to build an airport, I sincerely believe that this can even go a long way to develop the lives of the people who you are ruling, rather than say you want to build airports. Yes, I agree that some airports are of necessity. Anambra Airport is of necessity. I will support it, and I supported Anambra Airport because I know my Igbo brothers, they travel a lot, they do a lot of business, so they can take their cargo from Lagos to Anambra and distribute this. It makes it very easy for them. Before now, it used to be Asaba. was very, very viable. And I'm not saying it's not viable, but with the Enugu, Anambra Airport coming on board now, it is going to, in the nearest future, is even going to take more traffic from Asaba, because a lot of people going to Asaba are my brothers from Nnewi, Onitsha, Oka, that were using that. But now they can fly directly into Anambra to do their businesses. And
all right, it's a good way to leave it. An interesting conversation. Well, despite the challenges, we're still able to wade through. I must thank you so much, Mr. Wole Shadari, aviation analyst. Do enjoy your weekend.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.